Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're diving into something that might hit a little close to home. A study that looks at a super common but kind of risky habit. Let's get into it.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever been there? You start feeling sick, maybe a sore throat, a cough, and you remember, wait, I have some antibiotics left over from last time. It feels like such an easy fix, doesn't it? Well, that exact thought process is what a 2014 study from Karachi decided to dig into. They looked at this very behavior, but they focused on a group you'd expect to know better, university students. And honestly, what they found? It's pretty eye-opening.
Okay, so here's the deal. The researchers really wanted to know, how common is this, really? Just grabbing antibiotics on your own? And they specifically zoned in on young, educated adults, people not studying medicine, to see what they were actually doing and what they knew or didn't know. So what did they do? They went out and talked to 431 students across 6 different universities, all non-medical fields, by the way. The idea was to get a real, honest snapshot of what's happening in the real world with antibiotic use.
And this is the number that just jumps off the page. Get this, 47.6%. That's nearly half. Almost 1 out of every 2 students they talked to said, yeah, I've taken antibiotics without a prescription in the last 6 months. That is just a huge number.
So, okay, what were they taking? Well, the study broke that down too. The big one, by a long shot, was amoxicillin. Over 41% of the students who self-medicated reached for that one. Then you had metronidazole and a couple of others. I mean, we're talking about some serious, powerful drugs here, being taken with zero medical supervision.
This brings up the big question, right? Why? Why are almost half of these smart, educated students skipping the doctor? There's gotta be a good reason, or so you'd think.
And what the study found might surprise you. It wasn't about money, it wasn't about not having health coverage. Nope. The top reasons were all about one thing: convenience. It was, I need to save time, or hey, this worked for me last time, or simply, I just don't want to deal with the hassle of a clinic.
Okay, but this is where things get really interesting. Because the researchers didn't just ask, what are you doing? They also asked, what do you know? And what they uncovered is this fascinating contradiction, this paradox. Just look at this. A huge majority, over 77%, knew that antibiotics weren't harmless. They were totally aware of the potential for adverse effects, stuff like allergic reactions, getting dizzy, messing with your sleep. They knew the risks.
So think about that for a second. They knew there were immediate personal risks. They knew taking these pills could make them feel sick. And yet, they did it anyway. So what gives? It means there must have been a huge, critical piece of the puzzle they were completely missing.
And that brings us to it, the absolute core finding of this whole study. This is the part that takes one person's choice and connects it to a massive global problem. First things first, let's make sure we're all on the same page with this term antibiotic resistance. What is it? Basically, it's when the germs, the bacteria, get smart. They evolve and learn how to beat the very drugs we designed to kill them. The more we mess up how we use antibiotics, the tougher these superbugs get. And this is the blind spot we were talking about. This slide says it all. Only about 20%, that's just 1 in every 5 students, made the connection. They were the only ones who understood that using antibiotics the wrong way is what creates this resistance. That means a whopping 80% just didn't get it.
But wait, it gets even more shocking. Look at this fact. Almost 2/3, 63.1%, had never, ever even heard the term antibiotic resistance. Think about that. The single biggest danger of what they were doing was something most of them didn't even know existed.
So you might be thinking, okay, but that's a study of students in Karachi. Why does it matter to me? Well, here's why. Because every single time an antibiotic is misused anywhere in the world, it's like a training session for bacteria. It gives them a chance to level up, to become resistant. And those resistant germs don't need a passport. They can spread across the globe, and that makes all of us, everyone, more vulnerable.
So, what's the solution? The study points to a 2-pronged attack. First, and this is a big one, we need way better public education. We have to close this massive knowledge gap. And second, we need to get serious about enforcing the rules. Antibiotics shouldn't be something you can just buy over the counter without a prescription. Which brings us right back to where we started, standing in front of your medicine cabinet. Knowing what we know now, that this seemingly small private choice is actually part of a huge global threat, it changes things, doesn't it? That leftover pill might seem convenient in the moment, but when you weigh it against the future of our ability to fight infections, suddenly it doesn't seem so convenient after all.